Whoa, is that gonna even out? I don't know, but I'm not gonna change it because the majority of the vlog is at nighttime. But welcome to vlog number 42. It's wild. So I went to Target on a Saturday because it's my dad had to pick up his prescription and all that, and I was like, I will go to see if they have the birds that I didn't get the other day. And let me tell you, the lighting will change, don't worry. But so I picked up two things that I'm just like, it was a madhouse. Target on Saturdays, and then we are in the holiday season now, but I got a winter bird. This was the only one they had that I didn't have. Its name is Weft, and I love that texture right there. And then I was gonna get this sign on Wednesday, but they only had 2 left, so I went ahead and got it. This is gonna go right there behind my computer. It just says Merry and Bright, and this was $10 altogether. Then I had a $1.79 coupon with the Target Circle. So on this decorations, well, he's gonna go up December 1st because he's winter, and that is the when I say winter starts. But the Christmas stuff will go up at the probably in this vlog, to be honest with y'all. My unplugged book box did get here today. They did ship out late this month because like they didn't have all the stuff. I don't know, but that's irrelevant. But we are getting it now. And we have some vampire pillow face mask powder. I'm not sure what a face mask powder is, but vampire's blood. Yeah, they have had so much like fantasy stuff, like vampires are fantasy to me and all, when this is not a fantasy box, because I'm like, that was my thing with Lit Joy, Fairy Crate, whatever, Owl Crate. It was all fantasy, and I'm like, and YA for that matter, and I was like, I don't care. So we have a vampire thing, and the theme is classic and cozy. And the theme next month is cursed. So again, that does sound like fantastical, which I don't like. So our first thing here is coming here. It's probably one of the candles, is my guess. Oh, no, it's like a little... This, it says, I would rather have nothing but tea. That's another thing. They love tea. And I'm like, I'm drinking tea right now, but I don't get the obsession. So yeah, it's probably coming to my end times of this subscription, to be honest with y'all. Then we have hand cream, Nevermore, Amaretto, Maple, and Balsam. Not a strong scent, but maybe once you put it out, it'll be strong. And then is this gonna be the candle? I do like the little candles. So we have one that is Macbeth, and then I can tell what the black one is from the angle I'm at. Oh, this is a candle. Is it a candle? Another black one, and it is Caulfield Essence of Pride, Holden Morrissey. I don't know what that is. Oh, the Catcher in the Rye. But yeah, I don't know what these candles are supposed to smell like. It literally smells like hand lotion. But I do like the, I like the candles. I do like the candles, I will admit that. Just throw that back there for the time being. We had this. Is this, it's in a different language. I don't know what this is. Does it go with the little black thing that we got? Yeah, I don't know what this is. Y'all can't really see that. Yeah, not sure what that is. Nice incense. And then this Dracarys, it says that. I do know that, but I don't know what this is. And this is all getting on my jacket here. I got this jacket at Goodwill, and it was such a good deal. Then we have some Japanese, organic Japanese matcha jade leaf traditional tea, which again, I don't really drink tea that you brew. I drink sweet tea, and that is it. So I'll see my grandma wants that, but let's see what the book is. So this box has been kind of underwhelming. I'm assuming it's gonna be something Japanese themed. We had this little green string. I'm like, what is that from? Oh, hold on. We do have the cards at the bottom. And a ruler, looks like, oh, that's probably a bookmark, and the green goes on the bookmark. Yeah, I don't know why I'm not feeling this box. Like, it sounds like I'm in a bad mood, but I promise I wasn't until now. Yeah, I'm getting that, like, why? I just got this dry cleaned for the first time. Because, as I said, I got it at Goodwill. And no, seeing all that stuff in it. So I'm assuming it's Japanese, a Japanese book because of all of the things that came along with it, but who knows? It's a hardback. Oh, and it's in one of these things. The Secret Garden of Yanagi Inn, so by Amber A. Logan. So it sounds Japanese by the title. It's in this plastic. We know I hate when books come in the plastic. I'm like, it's just worse for the environment and hard to get into. So this is the cover, and then we do have these sprayed edges there, and an adult retelling of the classic children's book, The Secret Garden, about an American woman who, while mourning the recent death of her mother, travels to Japan to photograph a dilapidated traditional inn, only to find herself mysteriously tied to the inn's haunted past. So if it's not too spooky, because again, I just haven't been into that recently, and so I don't. Oh, look at that. That's just, it seems like that's all subscription boxes are, like fantasy and spooky. That's all we do. I'm like, give me historical fiction, please. But since this does have some kind of past, hopefully there is some historical elements, and it is signed by the author, but I don't think y'all can see that. But let me show y'all this stuff. So we have our note from the author, and then we have a bookmark. As I told y'all, the string did what wasn't attached to mine, but it has the ruler on the back, which is really nice, and just a cute design there. But that is everything in here. I really need to get to reading because I might be going to a race tonight. I'm really debating if I am or not. So I need to clean up all the stuff that I got, and then I need to read. But I'm like, I don't want to, but I have to. So we are reading today. Do not worry, we're about to get to that. And to let y'all know, I found out all of these things are for tea. And as I said, I don't drink tea, so I'm gonna see if my grandma wants these, because I don't know. So I'm just gonna probably put them in her Christmas bag and be like, if you don't want them, you can donate it. I don't care, because I don't brew my own tea personally. I do brew my own hot chocolate, but not tea. That's just my personal preference for things that I drink. But yeah, as I said, there is tea stuff sent every single month, and as someone who doesn't drink tea, I feel like I'm kind of wasting my money, so I don't know if I'm going to renew my subscription. I'm gonna do my December one, and if there's more stuff that I don't want than stuff that I actually do want, then I will cut the subscription. But as I said, we are getting to reading, so I'm going to start with 3 Women today. No, I didn't read any of A World Undone yesterday, but I will read 10% today instead of the 5% that I'd usually read, so I can make up for yesterday. But as I said, I did read over 100 pages yesterday, finishing a book, so I am content with that. So we will be starting in here on page 79 at Lena's perspective. And if you didn't watch last week's vlog, Lena is my favorite in here so far. And also, if you didn't watch last week, this is It Thrills Us, Torments Us, it controls our thoughts, destroys our lives, and it's all we live for, yet we almost never speak of it, and as a buried force in our lives, desire remains largely unexplored until now. Over the past 8 years, journalist Lisa Taddeo has driven across the country 6 times to embed herself with ordinary women from different regions and backgrounds. The result, 3 Women, is the deepest nonfiction portrait of desire ever written, and one of the most anticipated books of the year, and this came out in 2019. And if you have a Book of the Month subscription, you can get it there for like $9.99. I think it's actually $10.99 now, but obviously that is way cheaper than buying a hardback in the store. Not sponsored, but recommend Book of the Month. I literally read over a quarter of the book, getting me to, let's see, how many pages have I read? Oh, I stood the pen like on my finger, that hurt. But I read 154 pages. Okay, so let's talk about what I've read. We will talk about Lena first, because as I said, she is my favorite, and it turns out she does have endometriosis and other chronic illnesses, so I'm like, I can relate. That's relatable, and it's something that I never see in media, or if I see it in media, I think it's so like flat, I guess. Like I've seen it mentioned and it'll just be like one time and never mentioned again. I'm like, people don't understand, but like we're not getting all into that because that's not what this clip is about. But she, as I said, I find her the one that I relate to the most. And then Maggie, oh, I feel for her so much. And I got this book when I was 19 turning 20. Like it was, I got it the month I turned 20. And I'm so curious of what I would have thought when I read this, because we're like the present date for Maggie is she's my age, 23. And I just, how she was manipulated and all, I feel so bad for her. And then with Sloan, I don't really have as many feelings for it, but yeah, hold on. Lena, as I said, is most relatable, but Maggie's the one who invested in her story the most. Sloan, I'm just like, she's doing her thing, good for her, not really caring as much. Hers is the more different of the two, I would say, because I feel like both Maggie and Lena were very young in these situations, and kind of maybe at opposite points, like opposite of each other, but I feel like there is some similarities there. When Sloan is like older than them and just at a different stage in her life and is very different than those two. Another thing is this, it's called Three Women, and I just feel like all of this revolves around the men as well. That all these stories are because of the men in their lives, and I don't know how to feel about that. I'm just not exactly sure, but I am at 76% of the way in here, so we will most definitely finish this tomorrow with, if it goes with how I have been reading. No, I didn't pick this up yesterday, so I'm going to read 10% in here after my bath. I'm going to be starting on chapter 26, which is page 491. I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to get to this, but I am sometime after my bath, so sometime after 9:30, which is in 9 minutes. But I will see y'all tomorrow, most likely. Who knows? I might check in later tonight. I don't know, but... Oh yeah, I didn't go to the race, but I am going to include a clip of how you could hear the race cars from my house. It is a like 6 mile. I don't know if that's as the crow flies or if that's by driving, but you can hear the late models and you could kind of hear the trucks. But the main race is late models. And I didn't go. It's 49 degrees and my dad had to park like way away, like not even on the track property. I think it looked like he had to park at the airport next door and walk along a highway, then walk a dirt road all the way. And I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't do that, especially in this kind of weather. That is not for me. And yeah, so I've had a great time. As I told you, I read a quarter of a book, so I'm like, I have had a fantastic time being by myself on a Saturday night. And now I'm trying to do a Discord voice call, but no one is joining, so I'm just kind of like, I'm bored, someone talk to me, please. Happy Sunday. And I read 230 pages yesterday because I have zero chill. Very true. No, I have no chill. There's no chill for me. So we're about to get into Three Women and hopefully finish it. We have, I think, how many pages are in this? About 300 exactly. So we have about 50 pages left. So I do think it is doable to finish this today. So we are going to be starting on page 233. I just finished Three Women right here. Three Women. So let's talk about my thoughts. These are my rough thoughts. Like I literally just finished. So if you would like my full and final thoughts, be sure to add me on Goodreads, follow me on Bookstagram. Both will be linked down below in the pinned comment. So reviewing nonfiction is always hard for me, or I'm always like, it's gonna be so hard, and then I start typing, and then I'm like, I'm fine. But this one does, we do follow three women, so we'll talk of them as characters, even though they are real women. It was really easy to get emotionally attached to these women. They went through it was all sad to me. This book was overall depressing, which, I mean, obviously, it's not everything we read is happy, and emotions are things that are very important because it is something that we all go through. It is human. It is healthy to go through different emotions, and you really go through those in this book. And just thinking of how every woman's situation was different but similar, and I wonder if these three women ever met, because, like, you know, after the book published, did they ever meet? Like, I'm curious. It doesn't say anything like that, but I do want to know. So what else can we talk about for nonfiction? We can talk about the writing. The writing was fantastic. Probably some of the best nonfiction I've read. And as I said, it was vibrant writing, and it was indulging. You're getting answers for things that you're always curious about other people's lives, but you can't really ask people certain questions, but you're thinking them. You get those answers here, because I think a lot of us are nosy people. Admittedly, I'm a nosy person. I want to know people's business, but I'm like, I don't know these people that well, and I don't really want to get to know them, but like, I do want to know about their personal lives and all of that. Yeah. So you really get to see that here, and it is just how this book is about desire. And again, desire is something that humans go through. It doesn't even have to be sexual desire. It can just be desire for love, comfort, anything. People desire everything and anything, and it's just an emotion or a want or a need that we all go through. So you can find relatable things with each of these women in this book. I even think if you're a man or you're non-binary, you can relate to the women in this book. And I do think this is a very important book because it is something that we all go through. We can all relate to this and just see how our journeys in life can go. But I think that's all I'm going to say. So let's put into Goodreads. Where's my phone? And then do our kind of end of the week wrap up, even though I am still reading. I'm still going to be picking up A World Undone later tonight. I read 71 pages in here, by the way, and 3 women. So let's go in here, 3 women. I have finished this book, and I've really thought I'm going to give it 3 or 4 stars. And I feel like once I think more and more about it, it is going to be a 4-star, like a full 4-star. So I'm just going to put it as that right now. And yeah, so we finished it. Another thing is, going back to the review, that it would change like from first person, second person, third person sporadically throughout some chapters. And that kind of confused me. And I didn't like how it did that. So the wrap up right now, I'm only currently reading one book, which is A World Undone by G.J. Meyer. I am at 60%, which is, I did not update to where I got to last night. I did not do that. I am on page 566. Let's put that in here. I'm at 69% according to Goodreads. And then let's look at my 2022 reading challenge. So I have read 93 books this year. My goal was 80 books. So I am 23 books ahead of schedule and 116% of the way to my reading goal. I will see you guys tomorrow on Monday. It is Monday. I just got home wearing green. It's the same thing I was wearing yesterday. But let's talk about what I'm reading, because I have read a little bit today. We're starting 2 new books today, but one isn't really new. I am rereading a book because I first read this book when I first made this, not when I first made this channel, but when I first started making booktube videos, and I just want to continue this series, so I want to refresh my memory, and that is The Iron King by Maurice Drouin. So this is translated from the French by, I think it was Henry something. I think There's a foreword by George R. R. Martin. Yeah, oh, translated from the French by Humphrey Hare, and this was published in 1955. And my 2 tabs so far are, well, hold on, first I should tell you all what this is about. So a web of scandal, murder, and intrigue is weaving itself around the Iron King, but his downfall will come from an unexpected quarter. Bent on the persecution of the rich and the powerful Knights Templar, Philip sentences Grand Master Jacques de Molay to be burned at the stake, thus drawing down upon himself a curse that will destroy his entire dynasty. So this is like during the 100 Years' War and all of that. I don't remember what else I was, oh yeah, my tabs. So my green tab, green is for writing. The dialogue in here is fantastic, and just to think that this is translated and the dialogue is still so good is amazing. And then my pink tab is just that getting into a medieval book, it's just like coming home. I'm like, this is why I fell in love with reading again. I love a medieval setting, really English and French settings. I love them, and it's just my happy place, my home in reading. And this is, as George R. R. Martin says, the original Game of Thrones. You can definitely tell maybe characters that inspired other characters, and that's just really fascinating. And I am currently on chapter 2, page 23, because I did read the prologue, and then there was a thing before the prologue that was just talking about the time period. I don't know exactly. I didn't read the foreword. I have read it before, but again, that is a foreword by George R. R. Martin. But I am going to eat my lunch now and then write some later and then get back into reading and then talk to y'all when I am done reading The Iron King for the day. We are done reading for the night in The Iron King. I got to page 66, which is chapter 5, and that was 19% of the book, and I am loving it. I gave this a 4-star originally when I read this 4 years ago. Lots of 4s, but I did love it back then too, so like I expected to love it, but I do think now I am enjoying it more than I did when I originally read it. So just my 2 notes, yeah, 2 notes from this time. And then I do, okay, random thing, since I didn't tab this, Isabella's been my favorite so far. She is the king's only daughter, and the King of France's only daughter, and she's married to the King of England, but is like really unhappy because her husband is gay, so she is kind of all on her own. She has her son, but really like nothing else, and it's quite sad, but she's my favorite point of view so far. And I don't know who my favorite was when I originally read it, but it would have probably been her, but I do have to go look. Like, I read this literally right out of high school. I might have even still been in high school, I don't know, but just to say a difference in age. So this book is very descriptive. You get details on everything, but it's still only a 300-page book, so it's not like you're being bogged down. And that's only something I love, is you can get great writing and you don't have to have an 800-page book. I do love an occasional 800-page book, but if you can get that same effect in like a 300-page book, that's amazing, and I respect it tremendously. And then I loved this quote here, and I do know, I read this before I started annotating books. Literally, like, I think the next book I started reading after this was the first book that I started annotating, is that, so I wasn't annotating, but I would write down quotes in a notebook, and I do think I did do that with some of these quotes, so we might have to go find my old sketchbook. I still have all my old reading journals, obviously, but it might be in there. But this quote is said, well, I'll read the whole paragraph and then tell you what I underlined. "The kings are the Templars," said an apprentice. "They're one and the same. Let the wolves eat each other and then they won't eat us." A lot of people should take that. Like, take the king and take the Templars and replace it with anything. That is how I see the world personally, is the elites, the people on top, let them go after each other, and all the people should stay together. Obviously in America, people are dumb and don't realize that and think that one or the other will save the world. It's not true. They're not. But yes, so I read 66 pages, and we will be starting a new book at the 9 o'clock reading hour, so stay tuned for that. I am back from eating, watching hockey, all the fun stuff okay, they all start with N. The NFL is in Mexico tonight, and I didn't watch any of that. I thought the game was in Phoenix, so that's on me. But we are starting a new book, and that is Educated, a memoir by Tara Westover, and this is one of the 10 best books of 2018 according to the New York Times, and it's a #1 New York Times bestseller. And let me tell y'all what it's about. So Educated is an account of the struggle for self-invention. It is a tale of a fierce family loyalty and of the grief that comes of severing one's closest ties. With the acute insight that distinguishes all great writers, Westover has crafted a universal coming-of-age story that gets to the heart of what an education is and what it offers, the perspective to see one's life through new eyes, and the will to change it. I think education, honestly, is probably the most important thing in this world, because we are constantly learning, and that to me is the most important thing you can do, is constantly learn. And as I only say, that is my goal in life, to learn everything there is to learn, which obviously I know that seems impossible, but if I have a chance to learn something, I want to be able to learn that. And it can be just the simplest things, like extremely simple things. But I think it's so important to constantly have your mind going and all of that. I have no idea how much I'm going to read in here. I don't know how long the book is. Let's see at the acknowledgement. So it's 329 pages, so not that long. I think the pages are this thick. Like, it feels like a really heavy book, like weight wise, but it's not that long or anything. And I just noticed there's a person right there. So kind of, yeah, oh my gosh, this is a really like symbolic cover. I'm gonna have fun looking at that. But I'm gonna read this and then get back to y'all when I'm done with these reading sprints. Okay, last update for the night. So in Educated, I got to 6%, which is page 24 and chapter 3. Basically, so Tara, the author, was raised in a family where the kids were like not on record. Like, there were no social security cards, no birth certificates, they didn't go to school, they didn't get like birth certificates until she was 9, her siblings some older, and I think she's the youngest. And I don't want to say they have like no contact, because they go to church, it said they went out to eat, they would go to their grandparents' house, all of that, but they just weren't going to school. And the dad's like, the government's really bad, the feds they could come get us, it'll be really bad. And he has them all like preparing for the end of the world. Like, he didn't want them to have a phone, but then the mom became a midwife and they like needed a phone for it, you know that. And so I always find that so fascinating, these people who live kind of off the grid, even though they're not completely off the grid, but the dad wants them to be one day. But like ones who do it for like religious reasons and really think it's because the world's ending, like, it fascinates me. And that people live like this today, like, this is fairly recent. I know it was after I don't know what it's called in Idaho. They're in Idaho, but because the dad was telling them the story of like the Waco, but it's there. I don't remember what it's called, but it just amazes me that people live like that. And the writing is very descriptive, and I love memoirs. They're just, I don't know, I love memoirs. And I can tell this is gonna be a well-written one. But we are going, oh, mine's torn right there. I didn't realize that. But I did get it secondhand though, so. We are going to read A World Undone tonight, starting on page 605, on the background of Kaiser Wilhelm II, who I think has a great villain backstory. Like, I find him to be such a fascinating person. That's not saying like I support him or anything. I just think the mentality, like what was going on in there, very fascinating. But my camera is running out of room. Bye. Okay. It is Tuesday, so let me update y'all with what I have done. So first and foremost, I did read today, and I have read over 30 pages so far, putting me on page 99 and chapter 8. So in here, again, oh, I found out my favorite character when I originally read this was Guccio, who is like an Italian banker or merchant or some kind of thing like that. We've only had one chapter of him so far, but he was my favorite back then because he is young, he is a dreamer, and I really resonated with him when I first read this book when I was still a teenager, when I was, I don't know if it was my senior year or after I had graduated, but that time, and so I could really relate to him as a character. But so far, Isabella's been my favorite this time around. But my one mark in here today is that I wish more historical fiction was written like this, with multiple point of views, and just, I don't know, it feels like there's just so much, it's so good, and I just wish that we would see more historical fiction like this. I mean, it's just not a huge subgenre of historical fiction at the moment, I feel like, anyway. I feel like World War II books are like the go-to, and then like Regency, and I'm like, give me Middle Ages. It's my favorite time. But I cleaned my bathroom, and then I cleaned my plants, like taking off dead leaves, that kind of thing. There was only one dead leaf, but you know, I rub them down with alcohol when they're inside, because I don't want to get another spider mite infant, like where they were covered, and people were like, you need to burn that plant, and there's no going back, and I did fix it. So just to stay good with it, I do like to apply alcohol to the vines or whatever, like once a month, because when they're inside, because outside I've never had a problem with that, but I do like to do that when they're inside, because it is more of a humid, I guess. I don't know, like it's just a different, and they tend to grow like that. But that is my update. I will be back to read at 6. I do have to, I'm going to Cracker Barrel in literally 6 minutes, and then I do need to go to Petco as well to get some pee pads. Hi, what is your name? I don't see a name unless that's you. Chevron? I like your pups. Is there anybody over here? No, you're all by yourself? I have black cats. Oh, Europe? My bad. Did all his conquering. This guy, he's looking at you like, excuse me. Oh, one's in his shell. Hi. Bearded dragon. Oh, there's some in there, little geckos.
So he's checking his beard.
Oh yeah. Look, here's a turtle eating lettuce. I do have some unexpected book mail to share in this Yellowstone box. I don't watch that show, but do they have other shows that I watch? And it is a Star Wars book called Convergence, and it is by Zoraida Cordova, which is part of the High Republic era, and it's, if I were not a Jedi, then I would not be who I am. Very basic quote. And I need to stop pre-ordering these books because so many are piling up. Because I plan on reading every single one of the Star Wars books. But yeah, there's a big stack at the moment. Okay, let's talk about what I read. I only watched book 2 between chapters, so that's why I have headphones in. I'm not listening to an audiobook. But I read 78 pages, which I think was 42, got me to 42%. So I put in 3 tabs. So the first one's just a general tab. And I think the setting is why I enjoyed this so much. I think the author does a great job with the medieval setting. It's just so perfectly written. I love the world that it's set in. We're going between medieval France and medieval England. And then the next tab is a character one, our first character tab. And that is, the king is, like the way Philip the Fair, he is just very repetitive in what he says. And he's just very bland to me. I think he's the least developed of all the characters in here, and it's funny because this book is called The Iron King, which is Philip the Fair, so you would think he would be the most developed character. And then I put a pink tab just for this quote for us to have a little discussion, and it is, some people are only dreaming of travel and adventure in order to give themselves airs and an aurora of heroism in other people's eyes. So just let's start with that sentence. I think we can relate this to modern day, as a lot of people want to travel, they want to just show off on like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, to make their lives seem so cool and so much better in other people's eyes. See? And then Then when they find themselves in the middle of an adventure and in peril, they begin to think, what a fool I was. Why on earth did I put myself in this position? I think that's a thing where we get so entrapped in this social media circle where it can really be affect your or impact your mentality, and you might seem like, oh, it looks so cool, but my real life isn't actually like that. I'm not saying me, but like people will be like, I'm actually depressed, I hate the way I look and all that kind of thing. Again, I'm not talking about myself, but I'm just saying that people will see all these people with plastic surgery and filters and all of that and compare. And so I just thought that was an interesting discussion, as this book was published in 1955 and taking place in the Middle Ages, comparing it to modern day. But I will catch up with y'all later when we get into Educated. Okay guys, it is 9 o'clock. Let's see what page we're going to be starting on in Educated. We're going to be starting on chapter 3, page 24. I read 17 pages in here, getting me to chapter 5, which is page 41, and that puts me at 11% into the book. The first chapter I really thought was, the first chapter that I read today was interesting, comparing, it was talking about her parents' life like before the kids were born, and how her mom was wanting to get out of that, you know, picture perfect American dream family and wanting to have something different than that, and how we can think of Tara now, who was in the unconventional family, living unconnected basically from society, disconnected from society, and how she had thoughts of getting out of that and obviously eventually did. And then the second one was about how the family went to Arizona before, and her dad was really going on about the Illuminati and how like pills and doctors are bad and that's their idols and not for God like herbalists are, and that people who used herbal remedies and doctors for when things got really bad or really bad sinners. I'm a sinner by that standard, but we're all sinners, aren't we? But yeah, so that was everything I read in there, and we are going to get into A World Undone tonight, starting on page 644 with background on Ludendorff, who was a German guy. I don't know exactly. Was he a general? I don't know military terms that well, especially non-American ones, but I'm gonna go use a bath bomb. If you want to see which bath bomb I use, you can check out my Instagram reels. I have my Instagram link down below in the description of the video if you guys would like to give me a follow and like over there and comment as well. Okay guys, it is Wednesday. I went to Target in like the 12 o'clock hour this week, so we don't have that bad of lighting today for the Target haul, but let me show y'all what I got. So my weekly Pepsi, Tums, those are like the non-cool things. So I realized that I have two nails in my room, so I got this sign that was for $5 that says believe, and I'm noticing that I'm like, what is that? But believe. And then I got this only at Target, Bullseye, and he's wearing a little Spider-Man sweater or shirt. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but that is, I try to buy all the Bullseye ones. Then these deer that I've had on my list forever, and they were for $10. I'm gonna put them on my bookshelf. And the Funko Pop was probably like $8. I don't know exactly because they don't say on the box. Then I got this little ornament. I have another one like this that I got last year. It's a little elf, and she was for $3. And then lastly, I'm so happy I was able to get this. It was the last one they had, and I saw it on Instagram a few weeks ago. It's a bullseye on a sled ornament. Again, love bullseye, and this was for $5. Let's do the first reading update of the vlog. So I have been reading all day. Like, I've read at my normal times and all of that. I just started my day kind of earlier by going to Target early. But I started on page 144 in the Iron King today and got to page 64, which I think was like 61%, but we'll see at my, you know, midweek check-in. So let's go to, because I put a lot of tabs in today, not gonna lie, I went a little crazy with the tabs. So which one is the first one here? So this blue one. So again, I kind of told y'all yesterday that Guccio is so relatable to modern teens, and I think a lot of these characters we can relate to modern day, and it's so amazing because this book takes place in the 1300s. It was published in 1955, but it just shows how as humans we are all, I don't want to say we're all the same, but we all experience the same emotions and that kind of thing. Then I have a tab for writing. And this is just something that annoys me, and I was noticing it a lot more today, I think because we said a lot more Guccio's point of view, and it seems to happen more in his chapters, but it does happen in other chapters as well. But it'll be like Guccio thought, and then the thought will be in quotes, and it's no differentiation than quotes that are being spoken out loud. Like they both had the 2 quotation marks, or they actually only have 1 quotation mark, even like the quotes that are being spoken out loud. So I think that the thoughts should be italicized. And again, this might just be the translation that I have that does this, because as I said, this is basically classic translated from French. So different translations and all might have different things, but I don't like that. It's just kind of confusing because sometimes it'll be thought after, like it'll say thought after you read that. So I'm like, oh wait, he didn't say that out loud. And then another tab that just says Isabella is my favorite so far. I just feel like her chapters really, she stills the scene. And then my last one is I don't know what Robert's game is here. His could be going several different ways. I don't really remember what happens with him. But that's another thing. I've used all the colors of tabs except the plot one. There is plot happening, but I feel like this is more like, I don't even know if it's more character driven. I feel like just the setting and history plays such a major part as well, and the writing is so good. So let me try to tell y'all what the plot is. So we have Isabella, who's Queen of England. I told y'all like her husband is gay, so he's not really interested in her, and she's basically left all her own in this foreign country, and she has nobody. And then there are her brothers. She has 3 brothers, I think at least 3 that are married. And she finds out through Robert, who Robert, I think, is in love with Isabella. And Isabella does have feelings for him, but she doesn't want to cheat on her husband. She does respect him, whatever. And she is an honorable person. I see a lot of Alicent in her, to be honest. I know this inspired the original Game of Thrones series, so I don't know if there's any. I would say probably it did inspire some of Fire and Blood, but I don't know that for a fact. But then, so she finds out that all her sister-in-laws are cheating on her brothers. So obviously she doesn't want her brothers to go through the same thing that she's going through of her partner not loving her, and she wants to expose them for it, basically. And then we do have Philip, who is the dad and is just dealing with all of this. Yeah, and then Guccio is a side character who is, people just owe his family money because his family are, they're bankers. That would be my best way to describe the plot of this book. I don't really think the plot is a major thing. But we do, as I said, this is a classic, so a lot of these tropes have been used and used and used because this book has been out for over 60 years. So there's that. And there's my update. I'm gonna go make some chicken crescents for Thanksgiving, or at least I'm gonna take some over to Thanksgiving. My Thanksgiving is like only 3 people, so I'm only gonna bring 3 over and save the rest for me to eat. But there is my little update. It is 9 o'clock, so y'all know that means it's time for our nonfiction reading of the day, which will be in Educated, of course, because we are still reading this. This book, I tell y'all, it's so heavy. Like, I don't know if these pages, yeah, the pages are really thick, so it's just a heavy book. And we will be starting on chapter 5, which is page 41, so I'll probably read about 20 some pages in this sitting because that's just what I have been doing. Well, yesterday I read 17, so you know, just around that general ballpark, but catch me in a few seconds telling you what it was all about. Let's do our update now. So in these chapters, it was basically these kids are just trying to learn about the outside world, just to learn, because the dad really believes that you don't need books to learn, you don't need school, you just need practical things, which I personally think you need practical, and you need like book knowledge, like math and all of that as well. But so I think I told y'all earlier that the older kids had gone to some school, but then after the it's called Read something, the thing, you know, in Idaho. After that happened, the dad took them like all out and made them all like say the schools were run by the Illuminati and all of that kind of stuff. And yeah. And then it talked about kind of how the mom went into a lot of like using essential oils and chakras and that kind of thing, which I personally do like believe in that, but that just she has talked about her mom believing in that kind of thing and switching how she did her medical stuff. But I read 90 pages in total today. 26 were in here, and we'll get to what person that was in a moment. But it is Wednesday, so this is the day that I watched The Crown, so I'm not going to be reading A World Undone today. So sadly I didn't hit 100 pages, but that is a-okay, that's fine. There's where I am in here. So let's move all these books to get them in the right order. And let's do the midweek check-in here. So with my current reading, with Educated by Tara Westover, I am 19% of the way through. With The Iron King, which is the first book in the Accursed King series by Maurice Drouin, I am 61% of the way through. And then lastly, A World Undone, the story of the Great War, 1914 to 1918 by G.J. Meyer. Again, the Kindle version and the Goodreads version is only different. So on this version, it's telling me I'm at 83%, but the Kindle version tells me I am at 90%. So I should be finishing that book tomorrow on Thursday. And let's see my 2022 reading challenge. So it actually glitched on Sunday saying I'd only read 93, but I've actually read 94 of my goal of 80 books. So I'm 23 books ahead of schedule and 117% of the way to my goal. And that is my Wednesday update. I hope you guys had a happy Wednesday, and I will see y'all tomorrow on Thursday, which is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hey guys, as I said, happy Thanksgiving. It is Thursday, and so it is past 3. It's 3:12 right now, so I'm not going to read right now because I am pretty sleepy because I did have a nice Thanksgiving lunch. We're one of those families that does lunch and then eat your leftovers for dinner, and this is straightening out my Christmas tree. We have all the decorations inside, but like not up yet, but the Christmas tree is obviously a 7-foot tree, so it's in the spot it's going to go in, but you had to fluff it out, and that is my least favorite part of Christmas decorating. I suck at fluffing out the tree. I'm like, and I don't like the texture either. Like, I don't like that. So I don't know if a real tree would be different, but I have never been allowed to have a real tree. So I have my fake trees, which is completely a-okay, fine. I'm looking over here. I have a workout machine, books, stuff I have to move because I do have a Christmas tree that goes right there. But I did want to let y'all know we will be reading today, just later in the day, because we're basically doing what I would usually do on a Friday or a Saturday, but doing it on Thursday. So I don't think I'm going to read today, ending my streak of reading every day in November, but it is a holiday. I am just super tired and don't feel like it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave a turkey emoji in the comments below. I just thought, what if somebody leaves a Turkish flag? That'd be funny. Leave a turkey emoji down below in the comments, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!